Testing. Yep. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Piedmontese Show here at the great National Western Stock Show in the Mile High City. Our judge is going to be with us in just a moment. I will introduce our ringman to you at the moment, Adam Swinehart, one of the directors of the North American Piedmontese Association. Is going to be helping our judge today. And our judge is, there he is. Welcome to our judge today is Micah Dorsey from Stillwater, Texas. And we're looking forward to seeing what Mr. Dorsey thinks of our fine Piedmontese animals. We're going to just get rolling with the show. Our first class is full-blood Piedmontese females, winter heifer calf, born January 1st to April 30th of 2019. And these heifers are going to enter the ring from youngest to oldest. For those in the crowd that are not familiar with the Piedmontese breed, they originate from northwestern Italy at the foot of the Alps mountains. And in fact, the word Piedmontese means foot of the mountain in Italian. And the breed is very rare in the entire world. There are approximately 300,000 of these animals in the whole world because they only evolved in a very tiny area in northwestern Italy. They carry a unique gene that affects carcass performance and beef quality, especially tenderness. And so all of these animals in our full-blood and natural lean shows today in the ring are going to be homozygous for that gene. The association requires that all the animals are DNA tested for the presence of that gene before they're registered. So later we do have some heterozygous, one copy steers in the pens by our display area that will be judged over there at the close of the ring show. So the full-blood Piedmontese are born kind of a fawn color, soft tan color, and they have full black skin pigmentation all through their body. And then as they mature, they start to soften in color and often go to basically a silver or a gray, and with the black points. So that's why you see some variation in color here, because these are just young heifers, and probably by the time they bring them back next year to the show, they're all going to be a beautiful uniform silver color. for those who want to follow along, there are some show programs on the table back here, Piedmontese show programs, and also some literature from our show sponsor, which is Certified Piedmontese Beef. And I would invite anybody in the audience to feel free to grab a couple of those fine magazines. They've got excellent recipes and cooking tips and information on the beef quality that is pretty unique to this Piedmontese breed.
Well, this is my first experience in judging these things, and it's going to be exciting to see how the rest of them look. They're a little different than what I normally look at, but good cattle are good cattle. It doesn't matter what breed they are. The heifer I'm going to start with here, the young man's, to me is just the combination of what I like to see in cattle. She's probably the best balanced of the group comparatively. I think she's probably one of the sounder structured ones that probably has the least holes in her. That's why she's going to win today. Coming in second, we've got probably the most massive female. She's the oldest, the February heifer of the group. She's just got the most mass and volume. She's bolder ribbed than the heifer that falls behind her. Just has more weight per day of age, and that's why she's going to end up second. The one that's coming in third, actually as you read her at the ground, probably the soundest structured female of the whole set. That's why she's worked her way up. But as you start to study her compared to her contemporary, she's given up quite a bit of weight and mass, and that's why she's going to fall into the third hole today. Coming up next, the young man's got one that's super stout and muscular, real big back, and when you get behind her, she's got a lot of shape and dimension. But when you get this one on the go, she just gets a little too rigid off either end and a little tighter in her spine than I particularly care to see. Coming out next, we've got probably one of the longer-bodied, longer-necked females of the set. For me, just gets a little too shallow through the center portion of her rib cage. As you watch her go, I do like how sound she is, but like I said, just needs a shot more body. As you move into these bottom two, for me, just a couple that fall out of balance, just in terms of their hip structure and the way they're designed through their neck and shoulder, but still two really nice heifers. Let's give them all a round of applause.
Thank you, Judge Dorsey. Our next class in the ring will be full-blood junior female B, born January 1st to June 30th of 2018. We have 4 entries in this class, and again, they are entering the ring youngest to oldest.
Four really nice breds that we've got coming out here in our March class here. All these things are coming yearlings, and they're not too far from calving. The young lady's heifer I'm going to use to start this class for me, like I talked about in the last one. She's just the problem-free female of the group. Probably has the highest quality look when she gets her parked, even though she's fighting her a little bit. I like how good balanced she is when you get off from the side of her. She keeps herself together on the go. She's real sound and square built, like I like to see them. I like where she's at just in terms of her udder development. She's real uniform in her teat size, but just a really nice heifer to start off with. Heifer we come out here in second, probably the least developed in terms of her udder. Probably looks to be the furthest away from calving, but as you study her, she's one of the sounder structured females of the three remaining. Probably longer bodied and more extended off either end than the heifer that comes out here in third. The heifer that comes out here in third definitely looks to be the closest to calving. I like how big, bold-ribbed, and deep-bodied she is. She's real complete in her kind. Maybe just gets a little shorter off either end of her skeleton, a little more jammed up in her look compared to the way I like to see them. Nothing to take away from the heifer that comes out here next. Really neat and attractive ahead of her shoulder, long body type female. For me, probably falls apart the most in terms of her balance out of her hip and rear skeleton as she gets on the go. And I'd like to see her a little deeper bodied as well, but still a really nice female.
Thank you, Judge Dorsey. So that was our junior female class, and champion junior female LVC Sandra 8001F, reserve junior female champion LVC Sophia 8000F. Class entering the ring is our single entry in the senior female division, full-blood female. So this is senior female A, born January 1st to December 31st of 2017.
Nice single entry we've got coming out next. One you have to appreciate just in terms of her performance. Really long spine, long neck, long body type female that gets around the ring with plenty of ease. For me, if you want to pick on her, maybe you'd like to space her out just in terms of her udder development. She gets a little gathered in her teat structure. One maybe just needs a shot of belly as well, but still a really nice female.
Thank you, Judge Dorsey. So, senior female champion, then Dakota Buffy 90E. Brought to you by Doug and Adelia Chuka of South Dakota. So now we will be asking our first and second place animals from the previous classes to return, and Judge Dorsey will be making his selection for the overall Grand Champion full-blood female and overall reserve Grand Champion full-blood female for our Denver 2020 show.
give all these division winners a big round of applause. They've brought us a really nice set of females out here to study today. I'm not going to go through and break down each division and talk about them. I just did that in class, and I think y'all kind of got the point of where I got the gist of what I like to see in my cattle as you start to study them. I think there's one out here for me that really fits the type and kind I like to see, just in terms of being ultra complete and good structured and good built, has a little extra look, just sets her apart from the rest, in my opinion. That's going to be the young ladies out of your second division. She'll be your champion. As we bring in the heifer that was reserved in that division, like I talked in class, I thought that was a really competitive class. I thought it was a tough decision to on where I wanted to go between those two. I think that one maybe, like I said, just needs to shot more body, but I think as she gets a little further bred and gets a little further along in calf, I think that'll come. But just in terms of her structure and her build, I think she really closely resembles the heifer I'm going to use to win, so she's going to go ahead and be your reserve today.
Thank you, Judge Dorsey. So, congratulations to our 2020 National Grand Champion Full-Blood Female, LVC Sandra 8001F, brought to you by Lakeview Piedmontese from South Dakota. She's taking her victory lap. And our reserve Grand Champion for this year is LVC Sophia 8000F, also brought to you by Lakeview Piedmontese of South Dakota. Congratulations to all of our competitors on a fine, fine group of full-blood Piedmontese females in all the age divisions. So next we're going to be moving on to our full-blood Piedmontese bulls. I think that our competitors are ready. So we're going to be starting with the full-blood winter bull calf class, born January 1st to April 30th of 2019. We have 4 entries in this class. So to those new to the breed, you will see a lot more muscling exhibited in the Piedmontese bulls than the females, which is characteristic of the breed. You're going to appreciate the carcass qualities exhibited in these bulls.
really nice way to start off our bull show here. I think as you start to study these things, I think as you study them, there's definitely a lot of quality all the way through all four of these cattle. The young man's bull that I'm going to use to start here, like I discussed, just for me, he's the complete problem-free bull. He's really well balanced as you study him compared to the rest. He's the neatest out through his hip and hind leg. He gets around. He's really sound structured and flexible at the ground. When the young man gets him parked, I like that he's got a little extra quality look through the front third of his body. As we move in here to the bull that's in second, definitely the heaviest muscled, most massive, probably the most rugged just in terms of his foot and bone. As you start to study him, though, from the side, to me just falls apart just in terms of balance, a little deeper up through his chest in relation to being shallower back to his flank and rounder out of his hip, but one that, like I said, just super massive and powerful and definitely deserves to be up there at the top end. As you move in here to the bull in third, one you like just in terms of his extra shape down through his stifle. He's super expressive down his back, really long-bodied, long neck kind of bull. For me, needs to be just a little deeper bodied, and then you just start to study him on the go. Maybe just gets a little more general in the way he plants on his rear two, but still an awfully nice bull to fall there in third. The bull that rounds out the class, not to take away from his quality, he's still a really nice, well-balanced, level design kind of bull. For me, just gets outmatched just in terms of his sheer volume as you get behind him and compare him to the rest of the bulls, but one with a little more time, probably going to grow and develop and mass up a little bit, and he'll be a little more competitive as you compare him. But like I said, still a really nice, sound-structured, functional kind of bull to be fourth.
All right, so that is your full-blood bull calf class and your 2020 bull calf champion, LVC Remington 9032G. Reserve is Chuka Tank 12G, both brought to you from two fine producers in South Dakota, Lakeview Piedmontese and Doug and Adelia Chuka. Our next class in the ring is Full-Blood Junior Bull B, born January 1st to June 30th of 2018. We also have 4 entries in this division, and they will again be entering the ring youngest to oldest. Full-Blood Junior Bull.
really nice group coming in here to these spring yearling bulls. One you really find to start the class, in my opinion, rather handily. I think this thing, just as you compare him to the rest of them, just has a little more elite look, just in terms of the way he's designed down his top line and out of his hip and rear leg. I like it as you study this one. He's probably the boldest and deepest through his center body. If you want to pick on him a little bit, I think maybe this thing could be a little more flexible out of his hip and hock, but it's getting awfully nitpicky on a really nice bull. Coming out here next, probably the longest bodied, longest neck bull, probably the neatest and most attractive ahead of his shoulder as you compare him to the following three. One you like just in terms of how big-backed and powerful he is. For me, he just gets a little out of whack because you compare him to the bull that wins just in terms of his body shape. Needs to be a little deeper back through his flank, and I'd like to pick him up in his pin set just ever so slightly. Coming back in here to the bull that's third, another just ultra-powerful, rugged bull, one you like just in terms of the way he's built at the ground in terms of his structure. For me, he just gets a little out of whack as you start to study him on the go. Gets a little off behind his shoulder and ducks his pins and rolls out just a little bit, but one you just have to appreciate just in terms of his mass and volume. The bull that comes out next, maybe one of the soundest structured ones we've seen, for me just gets outpowered as you compare him to the three ahead of him, just in terms of his mass and overall performance, just in terms of weight per day of age, but still a really nice sound structured bull to be fourth.
Thank you, Judge Dorsey. So that was our Junior Bull B division, which is also going to be our Junior Bull champion. So congratulations to LVC Spencer, 839F, brought to you by Lakeview Piedmontese, South Dakota, and our reserve junior champion, Shasta IROC, 837F, brought to you from the Ken and Tony Silver Herd in California. Our next class is going to be full-blood senior bull. We have one entry. There's been a scratch for everybody following along in the show program. Class 207 has been scratched. So our only senior bull is going to be the single entry coming in class 206. Full-blood senior bull A, born January 1st to December 31st of 2017. Following this class, we will be returning the first and second places from the previous age divisions in order for Judge Dorsey to select his overall Grand Champion full-blood bull for the 2020 National Show. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So this is class 206 full-blood senior bull A with a single entry, back number 6626 entering the ring, and our other 6625 back number was a scratch.
really nice single entry here. One you really like just in terms of how massive he is when you get behind him. That thing's probably as stout just in terms of from stifle to stifle and down his back as anything we've seen so far. Gets around pretty good. One maybe if you want to pick on him, you'd lengthen him out of his hip and free him up down at the ground just ever so slightly. But one you like just in terms of, like I said, how massive and powerful this one is. It'd be interesting to see when we get him out here with the rest of our division winners.
Thank you, Judge Dorsey. So that is our senior champion bull for 2020. LC 7801E, brought to you by Lone Creek Cattle Company of Nebraska.
Really impressive lineup of bulls we've got to study out here. I think as you study them, I think there's 5 out here that can go out and generate and make the next generation. I see a lot of terminal quality in these things, and just in terms of their muscle shape and their expression, I think there's a lot of quality all the way through the 5. As you start to study them, though, there's a couple to me that kind of stand out with maybe just a little extra, just a few extras here and there, just to make them a shot showier, give them a little more look, and maybe a little more my kind if you don't, if you would. As you start to break them down, I think there's one out here in particular that as you study them compared to the rest of them, in my opinion, is just heads and tails, just in terms of extra quality and extra look ahead of the rest. That's going to be the young man out of your second division. He'll be your champion. And we'll pull that reserve division out here and look at him just real quickly and pick your reserve. As we pull that bull out, was reserve in that division out here. Like I discussed, maybe one of the more powerfully muscled, thicker-ended ones we saw all day. For me, maybe just falls apart just in terms of his balance behind his shoulder and out of his hip. But one you really have to appreciate, like I said, just in terms of how much muscle this one carries on his skeleton. As you start to compare him to the others, I still think there's another one out here that maybe hits him with a little more look and a little more balance. That's going to be the young man here out of your first division. He'll be your reserve champion.
Thank you, Judge Dorsey, and congratulations to our 2020 National Grand Champion Full Blood Bull, LVC Spencer, 839F, brought to you by the Lakeview Piedmontese program from South Dakota. And in reserve, our reserve champion full blood bull is LVC Remington 9032G, also brought to you by Lakeview Piedmontese from South Dakota. Congratulations to all of our competitors, a fine, fine set of bulls and the future of the breed. Thank you, everyone. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are now moving into our separate show for the Natural Lean Piedmontese. The Natural Lean is a division of registry where composite animals are eligible to be registered, and also animals that may carry 100% pure Piedmontese blood but can't meet the pedigree requirements for registry as a full blood. So it's a division where there are possibly pure or possibly composite animals. However, all of them are 2 copy for the unique inactive myostatin gene. And we have a single entry in our first class for spring heifer calf.
Really nice single entry we've got to start off here. One you really have to appreciate just in terms of her extra femininity ahead of her shoulder. It's one that's really strong topped and level designed and gets out and go with plenty of flexibility. One I really like just in terms of how complete she is. Just a really problem-free kind of female to start us off with in this division.
Thank you, Judge Dorsey. So actually in our Natural Lean female division, we've got single entries in all 3 different age brackets. Our next age category is winter heifer calf, born January 1st through April 30th of 2019, with a single entry. The first class was spring heifer calf, born May 1st to August 31st. So a younger heifer, and this is the January to April born 2019 Natural Lean female.
Got a really long-bodied, high-performing female coming out next, really extended ahead of her shoulder, refined just in terms of her bone work. One you like just how powerful and high-performing this one is, and just in terms of her mass and volume. Be interesting to see what she looks like when we get her out here with the rest of them. Let's give them a round of applause.
So with our 2 heifer calves, now we need to actually select champion heifer calf, correct? Yes, so Judge Dorsey will now select the overall champion heifer calf between these 2 heifer calves that have been brought in different age divisions to the show.
Really a lot of give and take as we study this pair of females in our calf division. I think the young ladies that comes here out of our first class, for me, is one that, like I said, just ultra feminine and refined just in terms of her features and the way she's laid into her shoulder. I like how strong she is down her top and square she is out of her pins and out of her hip and hind leg. Maybe not quite as massive and bold and dense as the female that stands behind her, but like I said, just have to appreciate her extra femininity. The heifer that comes out of our second class there, like I discussed, just ultra high performing and long bodied and extended, like how sound she is. Like I said, just super massive and powerful when you get behind her. Maybe not quite as well balanced and neat and attractive from the side as the heifer that wins our first class, but still has a lot of quality to her. As we start to break them down, I guess for me, the young ladies heifer out of our first class is maybe just a little more my kind, so she'll be your champion today. The other heifer will be second, or reserve.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So our calf champion for 2020 in the natural lean division, TBS Grace 528G, and our reserve natural lean heifer calf champion, Shasta Shirley, brought to you from Ken and Tony Silva of California. Now entering the ring is our single entry in class 407, which is natural lean senior female, born on or before December 31st of 2016.
Really nice May female we've got here in this single entry class. One you like just in terms of how functional she is in terms of her feet and legs. She's ultrasound and good structured. I like that she's still bowl-ribbed and good-bodied and looks like she'd be a really easy-keeping kind of female out in production. As you study her, maybe not the stoutest one we've seen today, but she still has a lot of quality and a lot of really maternal, a really maternal look to her that I really like to see in these females, and we'll compare as we get out here to the rest of them when we get in our champion division.
Thank you, Judge Dorsey. So now we'll be returning the younger females from their age divisions, and Judge Dorsey will be selecting the overall natural lean 2020 Grand Champion female and reserve Grand Champion female.
Let's give these three a big round of applause. We've had seen a trio of really nice heifers out here in this division. As we start to study them, the young ladies heifer that we usually in the first division, like I said, is just ultra feminine, has a really high quality look to her. Obviously, as a calf, she's not quite as massive as the bred heifer that stands there behind her, but still just a really high quality, really nice female. Today, she'll be your champion. And then let me go out here for a minute, and I'll look at these other two, and we'll pick your reserve.
Thank you, Judge Dorsey. So congratulations to our natural lean Grand Champion female, TBS Grace 528G, brought to you by Tom and Barb Sperling of TBS Piedmontese in South Dakota. Congratulations. And our reserve champion, coming from California, is Shasta Shirley, brought to you by the Ken Silva program out near Mount Shasta in beautiful California. Congratulations, reserve national champion Naturaline Female 2020. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we will be moving on to our Naturaline Piedmontese Bull divisions. We have a single entry in Class 503, which is Naturaline Winter Bull Calf, born January 1st to April 30th of 2019.
Really nice black bull for our single entry here. One you just have to like, just in terms of how muscular this thing is. When you study down his back, he's really expressive, probably as stout from stifle to stifle as anything we've seen so far today. Really have to appreciate that about him, and he still gets around the ring fairly flexible off either end. One that'll be pretty tough when we get him out here with the rest of them.
Thank you, Judge Dorsey. So our Naturaline Bull Calf champion, Shasta Blackrock 902G, brought to you from the Silva program in California. Next class in the ring, 505 Naturaline Junior Bull B, born January 1st to June 30th of 2018. We have 2 entries in this division. Junior Bull B.
As we come out here into some of these bigger bulls, the bull down here on the left that I'm going to use to be the champion in this division, as you start to compare him, for me, maybe just one that's a little more correctly balanced out of his hip and rear leg, but as you study him, still has plenty of mass and power. I don't think there's a whole lot of difference in terms of just volume of muscle. As you compare the two, I think maybe the bull I'm going to use is probably a little shorter bodied and more bold and opened up maybe than the bull that precedes him. The bull that precedes him is longer bodied, more extended, but one that's just not quite as designed nicely out of his hip and rear leg. That's why he's going to wind up reserved today.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's your Naturaline Junior Bull Class champions. So Junior Bull Champion, LVC Endurance 871F, brought to you by Tom and Barb Sperling from TBS Piedmontese in South Dakota. Reserve Junior Champion Bull, LC 7189F, brought to you by Lone Creek Cattle Company of Nebraska. Our final class for natural lean bulls, we have our senior bull class. Senior bulls born January 1st through December 31st of 2017. We have 2 entries. For senior natural lean bull.
As we get into some of these more mature bulls, I think you've got 2 really nice ones to sort through. There's a lot of give and take between the 2 of them. I'm going to use the silver bull here. For me, he's just one that's a little more rugged and masculine in his kind. Got a shot more foot and bone, a little more massive just in terms of his body shape and just his overall dimension. The one that comes in second, one you get him from the side, you like just in terms of being maybe a little neater and more attractive ahead of his shoulder, but at the same time just gives up a little density just in terms of his foot and bone and overall mass, and that's why he's going to end up second in this division today.
Well, congratulations to our senior natural lean champion bull for 2020, LVC Styles 7006E, and our reserve natural lean senior champion bull, LC 7166E, brought to you by Lone Creek Cattle Company. So now we will be returning our bulls from all the age divisions and asking our good judge to select his overall natural lean 2020 Grand and Reserve Grand Champion Natural Lean bulls.
Well, as we get in here to our natural lean bull selection, I'd like to thank y'all for having me out to sort through these cattle. It's been a pleasure. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. We've seen a lot of good quality cattle here, something I'm not quite used to seeing, but like I said, good cattle are good cattle. It doesn't matter what breed, color, or anything else. They're just good stock. As we start to study our 3 division winners here, I'm not going to go break them individually down. I've talked about them enough in class. But for me, there's one that kind of stands out just in terms of maybe being a little different than the rest, a little more rugged in his kind, and just super massive for the maturity pattern he's in. One you really have to appreciate just in terms of how functional he stayed on his feet and legs, and just the kind of cattle he's going to be out in production. And that's going to be the young man's bull out of our last division over here. He'll be your champion. And then as we start to break them down for reserve, I think it gets awful close. As you study the bull that came reserve out of that other division, like I said, I thought that was an awfully close pair. I think that thing's really neat and attractive and has a little extra look as you maybe compare him to the rest of him. Maybe not the most massive in his kind, but one you really like just in terms of his quality. He'll go ahead and be your reserve.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our 2020 National Grand Champion and Reserve Grand Champion Natural Lean Bulls. Our Grand Champion this year, LVC Styles. Brought to you by the Lakeview Piedmontese program from South Dakota. And our Reserve Grand Champion Natural Lean Bull, LC 7166E, brought to you by the Lone Creek Cattle Company program in Nebraska. Congratulations to all of our exhibitors on a fine, fine set of bulls. And now we're going to go out to our breed display area. We have a couple of pens of heterozygous, 1 copy Piedmontese crossbred steers there. And we'll be asking our judge to review those pens of 3 steers and making an appraisal on those. Thank you very much. Please do join us over by the Piedmontese tent for that final class in our show today. Thank you all for coming. Safe journey home. See you next year.